And welcome to Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
And today we're going to be covering the event, The Witching Hour from DC, which spanned several books.
Oh.
Making
Not the same title?
It's a crossover?
No.
It's just a crossover event?
It's like, okay, so in the wake of DC Metal, Justice League Dark came from that. Justice League Dark has been a book that is run in other incarnations of DC, like New 52 and such, and typically involves characters who are more like magical or monstrous in some way, and the adventures they go on. This is no different, but after basically issue 3 of that, they started this event called The Witching Hour, which then spun out into some of the other books, making this sort of difficult to keep up with, because you had to know which book to go to next.
Right.
My biggest issue with this, I mean, I'm going to go out there and say I love this series, Justice League Dark, and I loved this event. My biggest issue with it was, here we have the first issue of The Witching Hour called Wonder Woman Justice League Dark #1, The Witching Hour.
Okay.
And the 5th issue of it is called Justice League Dark Wonder Woman #1, The Witching Hour.
What?
Huh.
They're both number ones?
Well, yeah, because this one's Wonder
one of
Woman
them's-
Justice League Dark, and this
Right.
one's Justice League Dark Wonder Woman.
God, no. Even when it was like Batman, Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man, Batman, they still
Yeah.
got the numbering right.
Nope.
No.
So you had to just pay attention week to week as this was coming out to
Wait.
figure out where to look.
Are they all Wonder Woman Justice League Dark?
Yes. So then after that, part 1 was the Wonder Woman Justice League Dark, then it went into Wonder Woman, then it went to Justice League Dark, then it went back into Wonder Woman, and then back to Justice League Dark Wonder Woman.
Woof. That's complicated.
Okay.
So you had to pay attention.
Keep it straight, yeah.
Keep it straight.
Is there like a
'cause they
guide
can't.
you can go into that's like, okay, here's the order to read these in?
Right? Usually there are guides. Also, a lot of times at the end of the book, it'll be like, continued in blah, 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 blah. And then you're like,
yeah.
okay, I hope I don't forget that. Because a lot of people have pull lists, and you know what I mean? Like if you don't, and then by pull list, not necessarily even at a store, just something mentally, you have a list of things that you were going to grab.
Yeah, so you know what you're going to
So
get.
let's just say you didn't see Wonder Woman because you weren't picking it up. You're picking up Justice League Dark.
Right.
Whoops. Then when this one came out, when the 3rd in Witching Hour came out, you were like, wait, what? What do you mean number 3?
Yeah.
Part
what?
3. What? So anyway, this book comes in the wake of basically 3 issues of Justice League Dark, and in those 3 issues of Justice League Dark, like a whole bunch of stuff happens, and now we're here. What you need to know is, in the wake of DC Metal, with the source wall breaking,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman decides she wants to form the Justice League Dark. And so she invites several characters, including Zatanna and Detective Chimp and Kirk
I'm sorry,
Lang.
Detective Chimp?
Detective Chimp, also known as Bobo. Look, that's
course.
his name. His name is Bobo.
I'm just
No
in
judgment
MST3K world now.
What you need to know about Detective Chimp, he has no magic. He has no real superpowers necessarily.
Does he talk?
Nor is he a very
Yes.
good detective.
All right, then he
He's
makes
kind
him
of
a magic
useless.
monk.
He actually, his detective
whatever.
skills are said to rival or equal that of Batman and the Dibneys.
No.
Yes.
So
No.
he's Batman, but a chimp.
Well, yes, and like in an actual later issue of Justice League Dark, we get a little like idea of whatever happened to him triggered something in his brain where like he can remember everything, conversations he's had like from far back. So like sometimes things will trigger it, and like he has such a hard time focusing on things because he just remembers every single thing that happened, and so he's an alcoholic because of that. So he drinks to forget.
Right.
So he's an alcoholic chimp, too.
Yes.
An alcoholic
hilarious.
detective
Yes,
chimp.
and he's actually in a rough place right now because a really good friend of his died, which I don't want to talk about because I know we're going to be covering DC Metal, so I don't want to necessarily mention that.
Okay.
And he's slated with some responsibilities, but regardless of that, he's got a super cool sword, and he is part of the Justice League Dark. Kirk Langstrom, Man-Bat,
Oh.
part of
Oh,
the team.
God. Yeah.
He's better. It's okay.
Sweet.
He's better.
Is he still a man-bat?
Yeah.
Then he's not exactly
but he's like
better.
he's like less scary, and like he can take. He's like more scientist that looks like a bat.
Is he a werebat? Can he like turn himself into a bat person?
No,
He's just
he's
always
always
a
a
horrible
bat
bat.
person,
He's always bat.
but he's a person.
Right.
But it like when he takes like a serum, he gets more of a like man-bat, like crazy, like what you
like a
remember him
Dr.
being.
Jekyll.
Kind of, except he's
He
just
becomes more
always a bat.
Well, becomes more animalistic at that point.
Yes,
But like
exactly.
when he's normal, he can like be coherent.
He's more sciencey, and he wants to be a part of the team because he's looking to study magic.
And
for
they're
the
like, no,
scientific-
you can't. You're a scientist.
Well, no, he's there. Like he ends up being a part of this whole thing.
This is like the Mystery Men of the
Kind
DC universe,
of.
where they're like, we're looking for recruits.
Yes.
Oh, this is what we got?
Kind
Detective
of.
Chimp and Man-Bat.
Like, Detective Chim's a great guy. Also, Swamp Thing's on the team.
Sweet.
And Constantine is like part of it, but he's not really on the team. Because Constantine doesn't really do teams.
Right, he's not a team player. Really.
So all you really need to know that happened in the last 3 issues is that due to the diminishing of the veil between the multiverses, the other kind started coming through, and
Were those the people that came through in Metal?
no, the other kind are from this dark multiversal dimension, and the idea was that the magic that the DC universe uses actually came from that dimension.
Okay.
And so now that the wall started to be like less solid and people were using magic, all these horrible things started happening, which is where like Detective Chimp and Kirk really came in, because they started having to do autopsies and investigations, because like these magic users would come in and like arms would be like extra arms would be shooting out of their body. It was a hot mess.
Gross.
But it turns out that every time they used it, it was opening the door a little wider to
Oh.
the other kind's
Right.
realm. And
good.
so then like their emissary kind of came through, and he's the Upside Down Man, and he's an incredible creepy design. I love his design. He's so messed up, but they're able to kind of push him back. In the wake of that too, Dr. Fate is revealed to not be Dr. Fate any longer. His god Nabu has taken control of Dr. Fate's body, and he is he's okay with the other kind coming through, and so he's kind of rooting for them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, he is like an Egyptian god.
Yes,
anyway.
so like that's going on at the same time. So like that all just happened. And so in the first issue of The Witching Hour, also at the end of The Witching Hour, the way they ended up getting him back in was Wonder Woman.
Wait, at the end of The Witching Hour? Or
At the end of Justice League 3 or Justice League Dark number 3, Wonder Woman, like her crown kind of pops off for a second in a sense, and there's like this symbol on her forehead, and like she's able to dig deep and like find this mystical power, which
It doesn't say made in China?
No.
Because it was on there for so long?
oh my god, get out of here. And she's able to push back the Upside Down Man. And so now she's like kind of dealing with that. They're also making a report to the Justice League being like, hey, all this crap happened. And like everyone's like, oh, okay, so we've got a lot to do. That's the Upside Down Man.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I like his design a lot. He's creepy and it's horrible.
I don't like the fact that he constantly has his arms crossed as I say that as I'm crossing my arms.
Right. But
creepy,
and he
Ben.
comes in upside down, and it's funny because he has to like try to learn our language, so everything's a little off sometimes when he speaks. It's cool. Anyway, so basically Zatanna and Wonder Woman are reporting to the Justice League just everything that's been going on, and they're like, okay, so we've got a lot to do, and like trying to figure out like mystically how they're going to solve this problem, because now magic users really can't use magic.
Yeah.
Because
How do we get
it
everyone to stop?
risks. Well, it's not even just
Opening
that.
up the world.
But it's like, how do we get around this now?
Right.
Because it's like that's not going to be enough. Eventually, they're going to bust through anyway, because they want to consume the magic in this realm and kind of take over. So not a good place to be.
Right. So what's the permanent solution?
Exactly. And they're also. Oh, and by the way, Dr. Fate's totally messed up, so we have that too to deal with. So.
Right.
Don't think about calling on him. He's not going to help
It's
us.
okay. The Justice League hasn't called on him in a long time.
Right? No, they
I
would
kind of
have.
lost his phone number.
Right?
actually.
And so like they kind of ask about like, or Batman asks Zatanna if anything else like went down, and he's just like, because it seems like Wonder Woman's not telling us something, and Zatanna flashes back to what happened to Wonder Woman, and she's like, no, we're good, we're cool.
She's got like black liquid coming out of her eyes.
And her
Yes.
eyes are black, and she's
And
stark
she's
white,
Exactly.
like a negative
yeah,
Wonder Woman.
yeah,
Like those ghost things in the second Matrix movie.
exactly. Yeah, she's a
She's an albino.
she's a ghost.
Yeah. An albino ghost.
So the Justice League
From
will,
Europe.
by the way, will end up not helping anybody in any of this book.
Well, yeah, because this is Justice League Dark.
No, well, and yeah, but they give you a really good explanation for it.
Oh, that's a nice change of pace.
Because at the beginning of this issue, we saw a flashback to Diana as a young girl in Themyscira, and like she like runs off into the night because she's heard that there are these witches who like dance in the moonlight, and as she's watching them dance, they end up like forming into three. I think there's 9 of them, I guess, is a total, and like the 9, like 3 of them will collide into one being, and then like 3 and 3, and they end up grabbing her and they mark her with this brand, and it's the same symbol that we saw in the previous issue that popped up on her head.
Oh, and that's why she wears the crown, is to cover up this brand she got.
No. It actually it's gone. Like it ends up going away.
Oh.
Like she doesn't even see it's there.
Right.
It fades and it's gone. But her mother brings forth the followers of Hecate, who Hecate in traditional Greek myth is the goddess of witchcraft and the moon, and she's known as the triple goddess, or she's often taken the form of the triple goddess, and oftentimes said to be the rule, like have a dominion in heaven, earth, and the underworld. So this all plays into this whole thing, and that's kind of what the symbol's all about, the moon, and right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
'cause it's different phases.
exactly. Yeah. The triple goddess is going to play a heavy hand in this. This will not be any other version of Hecate except for this, and they alter what she is in a sense from traditional mythology. But it's comics, so of course she does. Yeah. So anyway, they bring forth the witches, and they're like, we didn't do anything, herp-a-derp, and like...
Okay, it's hard to believe you when you say herp-a-derp after your sentence.
Right, and Hippolyta's like, dude, I'm in charge around here. I know you did. And that's when Hecate shows up, and like all the witches like bow down on the floor. And like Hecate is like, you displease me. I don't really need you anymore. And she like makes them go away. Oh. And she's like, because it's totally cool because I've got my witch mark and that's awesome. And you're like, so what now? And so when the Justice League are left after Diana and Zatanna leave, Hecate shows up and tells them to forget.
Oh.
And so she casts a spell over the entire Justice League, and then they all just are like, all right, so what we're talking about? Oh yeah, monitor duty. Who's up? So the rest of the Justice League Dark thinks that the Justice League is going to have their back.
Right. And they just never show up.
They just never show up. They just never do anything to help anyone. Meanwhile, all over the world, witches are coming, or magic users and such, are going to the Oblivion bar, which is a bar that's in a pocket dimension. And they're basically coming together, and they've done this before. Mostly it's like lower level users who aren't really like superheroes, but occasionally some heavy hitters show up, that kind of thing. And like they're all kind of drawn there, and they're really just kind of having, it's like a support group in a sense.
And Constantine is always hanging outside the bar?
Well, no. Constantine actually shows up because he's like, something's up, and like he feels like he should be there, and so he is there. And we're...
I figured he'd be too cool to be inside. Be like, no, I'm just going to be outside smoking.
That's Witchfire. She's a character. Yeah. She's like a supermodel and movie star and all this stuff. But she's also like a decent witch. So anyway.
And this is, of course, the girl from CSI.
Right.
Nerd girl. Yeah.
This is Tracy 13. She's also an established character. She happens to actually work at the Oblivion bar. So she kind of called everybody there as part of the Sisterhood of the Sleight of Hand. They decided they're going to like do a spell of protection and that kind of thing to keep them safe after, like, in the wake of what happened with all the like random crazy deaths. You know what I mean? That was associated with
extra limbs and such.
Yeah, all that crap. It was real bad. So then all of a sudden Witchfire's like, something's here and something's wrong. She bursts into like this crazy color palette, that white color palette that Diana did, and she has the mark on her head, and she's like, please run. And all of a sudden she just sets fire to the Oblivion bar, and like some of the witches are able to get out, and they grab like one another, and some of them get out, but most of them are burned alive in the Oblivion bar.
And like that's just a bad move for witches.
Yeah, I mean that's never historically that hasn't really worked for anybody. Yeah. So meanwhile, like, you know, Kirk and so that's Kirk.
He also looks like a monkey.
That's right.
A little bit.
Right. So
that's why he and Detective Chimp get along.
Right. Well, Detective Chimp's really like had it up to here with like Man-Bat, because he's like, Man-Bat is studying Swamp Thing, but it's like creepy because Swamp Thing has all these versions of him just laying about.
Marijuana thing.
Yeah, and the current Swamp Thing, they made him look like Alan Moore, and it is what it is.
That one?
Yeah, see, he's
sucks.
got the beard, and
yeah, bizarre.
It's bizarre. So anyway, they're like, don't worry, like, you know, the Justice League will help take care of us. And then all of a sudden, Diana starts freaking out because she hears somebody like say her name and telling her to remember, and she does the same thing she did, that Witchfire did, and like she turns all white and the black's pouring out of her eyes, and like Satana's like, okay, just keep calm, because Diana's still keeping it together somehow. And that's when Hecate shows up, and it's just like, she's mine. She's not yours.
That's
she's
my
mine.
mark on
That's
her
my
face.
mark. She's my witch marked. I want her back. And like Zatanna bows before Hecate and is like, hey, you know, let's be cool here. And Hecate's like,
everybody be cool.
Everybody cool. Everybody cool.
Chill out.
And Hecate is not having any of it. Bobo immediately gets on the comms and tries to call the Justice League, but they can't hear him.
Nah.
So he's just like, you gotta help us, come on! And they're like, anyway.
Why is
so
that
like,
monkey screaming at us?
well, they didn't even hear it. Like, they don't even hear it at all. Like, they're talking about monitor duty still. Like, like who's gonna do it this day and who's gonna do it that day. And
All right,
like, Detective Chimp,
ACDC Chimp is calling us again. Do we want to take this or no? No? All right, screw it.
It'd be funny if they heard him, but he just sounded like a chimpanzee, just screaming.
right? No. So Swamp Thing attacks Hecate, kind of like holding her in place, and then
Where he attacks like the goddess.
yeah, he sends a bunch of like clones of himself in a sense to like kind of just keep her down for a second,
Okay.
and then like he grabs Wonder Woman and Detective Chimp, and they start running, and like Bobo is like, go through this door, and she's just like, are you sure? And like they open the door and they fall into like basically like a underground storage facility for alcohol. And Zatanna's like, you put a door to the Oblivion bar in the bottom of the Hall of Justice. And he's like, yeah, I did.
That's awesome.
Right? Didn't that really work out for us? Because now we're like in the pocket dimension. She can't come in here. So, haha. So that's when they go upstairs, though, and they
Also
find...
booze.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they find the carnage of what happened in the Oblivion
yeah.
bar. And Constantine's there, and they're like, oh my God, you're alive. And he like grabs Zatanna and kisses her, and she's like, why did you do that? And he's like, because the end is coming.
Oh.
And she's
And I
like,
think you're really hot.
right? He's just like, why not? Why shouldn't I do it?
Look, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die getting laid.
We cut to the Greek Isles, and the idea is that they are going to go and visit another character who will hopefully be able to give us some exposition. But in order to do that, they need an offering. So basically, their offering is going to be a unicorn, and so they grab this unicorn. It's pretty rough watching them do this. Like, first of all, they send Swamp Thing and Man-Bat and like Constantine.
They send the worst people.
Yeah.
So this is an offering to who now?
To the character they're gonna go see.
Oh, I see. We don't know.
I'm gonna tell you. They sail off to this island.
And they have to bring it alive because it's drugged.
Yeah, they need it to be alive, and they go to visit Circe, who is a Wonder Woman villain and a magic user and a creature or a being of myth, obviously from the Odyssey. And she does her standard thing. She turns all the men into animals. Like they roll up. Swamp Thing, Detective Chimp, Man-Bat, Constantine, animals. Which is funny because Man-Bat doesn't become a bat, he just becomes a cow. And Detective Chimp becomes a duck.
Right. He was already
Well,
an animal, though.
that's funny.
She's all like bluster and effects and all that. And then like Diana's like, look at this. And she's like, oh, honey, you've got the witch mark. I am so sorry. And she just turns herself into like her everyday like street version of Circe. She's like, let's
Right.
talk, everybody. She turns the guys back into themselves.
Look, if I was my witch or goddess version in front of you guys, you wouldn't stop hitting on me.
Yeah, so
So
here
I
I
had to turn
am.
you into animals because that's all you are.
Yeah, that's it. Like that's pretty standard. So then in Mexico, we see that another witch mark has been discovered, and it's Manitou Dawn or Manitou Dawn, who is the wife or has been the wife of Manitou Raven, who is the comic book version of the Apache chief from the Super Friends,
Okay.
Nukchuk. Except he is not actually Apache; he's Algonquin. So.
Okay.
So they don't really they never call him the Apache chief.
Right. He's
But
the
occasionally,
Algonquin chief.
no,
They don't mention that either.
no, but occasionally he'll use like a Nukchuk and that kind of thing. But anyway, that's
So they call him Apache Raven.
she stumbles out of like a local eatery kind of thing, witch mark, and then she like blasts off and leaves. And as she does, the heat of her like leaving turns the desert into glass.
Oh, jeez.
And so
Thank God. I thought it went icy.
no. I
Actually,
believe
this
it's
is worse.
Yeah, that's much worse.
So then, like, there's actually, like, the cops show up, and, like, there's a guy talking who's just like, hey, look here, like, you can't blame her. She's been really good to our community. I don't know what happened to her. And, like, the cop's like, where did you say, like, she was going? What did she say? Did she say anything? And the guy's like, yeah, she said something about pandas and bats. So out of the policeman, we see, like, Dead Man kind of float out of him, and he's just
Which
like...
is always weird.
Right, yeah, well, I guess more weird for them.
Well, they don't.
for us.
Do they?
I don't
feel
know.
it?
I
or
think you
know
feel
this?
something, like a chill.
Right. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, Dead Man. Ooh.
I love it. You give me the chills.
Gross. So-
Dead man, flow through me again.
No.
This is me now.
So Dead Man's like, he figures out from what the guy was saying about pandas and bats that Manitou Dawn must have been going to Nanda Parbat, which is a like Himalayan like monk village temple thing.
Okay.
Where like dead man's goddess lives, and so he's like, crap, I better get there.
How does he move around? He can like fly?
Yeah, he can fly and
Isn't he just like a
phase and-
soul?
Yeah, he's like a ghost soul.
Right.
I mean, he is
Man.
like all white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So-
is a ghost.
Like how fast does he move?
I don't know. Faster
Is it
than
gonna
you.
take him? Is it gonna take him like a day?
No,
Like
it
a
doesn't take him
minute?
very. No, it doesn't take very long.
Does he ride on a ghost train to get there?
No,
Or a night train?
no, he doesn't ride any trains.
Does he fly?
Yeah, he flies.
Like what airline?
Spirit.
Nice.
Anyway, back at Cersei's place, they're having like a whole meal, and like most of the guys aren't willing to eat or drink anything because
They were turned into animals.
Yeah, exactly. But she's like, oh, how quaint, you brought me a unicorn, how cute, ha 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 ha. Anyway, tell us what's going on. And she's like, oh, let me give you a little quick history about Hecate. So Hecate was like an original primal woman incarnate, and she is the triple goddess and the witch mother, and originally man tried to steal her magic from her, and that got her super angry.
She does have 3 faces?
Yeah. 1, 2,
Okay.
3. Triple goddess.
I'm sorry, I was looking down here. I didn't see that up there.
A triple
yeah.
goddess, she's a triple threat.
Right, exactly. It's true. Well,
One's a singer, one's a dancer, and one's a performer.
a chef.
I was gonna say ice skater. That's better.
Chef.
Well, I mean, she got to eat.
Exactly. And look, the triple goddess hasn't just arrived or been shown in Greek mythology. You'll see it in lots of other mythology. Like it's just a thing that occurs throughout the world. This is what we're talking about here. So anyway, they try to steal her power, and so she like infected the world with darkness, and then there you go. And then she took her own power and like hid it. It's like Horcruxes. She put it into 5 people. Or witch marked. And there always have been 5, and each time one dies, it goes to someone else or what
It's
have
weird she didn't make 3.
you. Right?
Yeah, since
she
she's the
did.
triple
She did
goddess.
5 because that makes the story better. I'm sure there's a reason for that.
Sure.
Probably because of the symbolism of the pentagram.
I would
Oh
think.
yeah, that makes sense.
Anyway,
And yet
or
that's not...
pentacle, depending on.
Which one?
So regardless, each time one of the witch mark dies, Hecate grows stronger because her power returns to her.
For like a little while before it goes into another one.
No,
Or-
she's pulling it back now. She's
Oh.
like, I'm done.
Oh, she's okay.
I'm
She's
done
got the
having-
cycle.
She's
5.
got a plan.
I see. Why did she put it in them to begin with?
Well, to hide her power
Biding
from
her
the people
time
who were
or
trying to
something?
steal
I
it.
guess yeah, she was under threat.
So,
Or are we gonna find
right,
out?
we will find out.
Ah, okay.
But, right, like, the idea is that, yes, like, she just did this because she was like, screw all of you. Because she tried to steal from me, so you can't have it at all.
Right,
Like,
so
so
I'm
she's like,
gonna put it
"Nah."
all
So, like,
out
she
there.
gave them, like, dark powers and what have you.
All
Right now, her plan is to replace the magic of the world with her own power, and then she'll be in charge of, like, everything in, like, the natural world and all that.
Oh, okay.
So that's her plan. So that's why she's pulling it all back. So she's burning through her witch marked in order to get her powers back, but she's also using them as tools to like inflict damage on magic users and key magical locations.
So that she doesn't have competition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about the beings that are coming in from the other dimension?
They're not coming in anymore. Like we closed that door for the time being. We temporarily closed the screen door that's holding them back.
Okay.
We were just like, okay, because Wonder Woman sent them back when she, like, and that's how we found out she had the witch mark in the third issue of Justice League Dark.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
she,
so that was Hecate who wanted that door closed.
it was either that or it was. I can't remember
Or
if it
she'd,
was
like,
that
tapped
or
into it
yeah, or
somehow.
something like that.
Ah.
Because like Wonder Woman's a little different, being like part like crazy god thing. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like she's
right.
a little different than the other witch marked.
Okay.
So
I mean, she's made of clay.
I think
Right,
she is in
it's
this
really
version.
complicated.
Yeah, I don't know. So essentially, Wonder Woman's like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Cersei, can you help me to use my witch mark without letting Hecate be in control of me, and I'll just have a lot of power? And Satana's like, that is the worst idea I've ever heard, Diana. You don't know anything about magic. Like, you just don't get it at all. And Cersei's like, that could work. We could totally do that. Let's try that. Why not, right? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's not me.
Yeah. Let's just go for it.
Like-
And like,
just go for
I
it.
don't give a shit what Zatanna says.
Yeah.
Right? So also you should know that Cersei is like the favored disciple of Hecate, and even she's like, this is not going to work for me. Cersei's going to do her little spell to try to help Wonder Woman with her issue, and then like Dead Man shows up. He's like, hey, you got to help me save Parbat and Ramakrishna, who is his goddess, because like Manitou
I have
Dawn
to do who and the what now? What?
is like wrecking everything. So come on, guys.
And then Cersei's like, Be gone.
Yeah, no,
He
Cersei
disappears.
They're like Deadman's like trying to explain what's happening, and he's like, I've never seen this kind of power before. She's ruining everything. All the monks are gonna die, and they're gonna kill Ramakrishna, and I'm not okay with that. So you have to help me. And then Wonder Woman from off panel is like, don't worry, Boston, I got this, because like Cersei totally did the thing that Zatanna didn't want her to do, and so like now Wonder Woman's all like Super Saiyan. She's like,
Yeah, she is.
yeah, she's like, huh?
But her eyes aren't black.
No, because she's in control of her power. So Zatanna's like, this is a really bad idea. And in an earlier issue, she had a dream about her father coming to her, saying that something was coming. It was going to be really bad, and someone on her team would end up being either the savior of all magic or the end of it. And so, like, everything that happens, Zatanna's constantly like, is it?
Right.
Is it you? Ha! So she's like, maybe this is it.
Right.
I don't know. Damn it. So then they go.
That didn't really help me.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Thanks, Ghost Dream Dad.
It's making me nervous.
It's Detective Chimp who's like gonna destroy it all.
You know what? There is a moment in a later issue where that is brought up. Because
Like, what if it's Detective Chimp?
Well, and it's not just that. It's because
He's all.
of exactly. It was little thumbs
What
on
has
his hands and his
Detective
feet.
Chimp even done in this book?
Drink.
Any use?
Well,
Well,
in
he
this,
brought them.
He brought him to the Oblivion
Oh,
bar.
yeah.
So they head over to Nanda Parbat, where the place is on fire.
Yeah,
and
it
like
It sounds like someone's name. We're going over to Nanda Parbat's.
Yeah.
Going over to
She's throwing her
Panababa.
Wicked Rager.
yeah, exactly, and it's not going well. So Manitou Dawn is like burning her way through the city, basically, trying to get to Ramakrishna, and all of the monks who have like the dead man style abilities like abandon their mortal cores and they go and attack her, and it's like horrific because they go into her body and then they start like pushing their way out of it in order to try to stop her.
No.
That's hilarious.
I don't like that.
No, isn't that cool? And she like expels them out using the power of Hecate.
And then she sneezes and they're all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Ramakrishna shows up and she's like, Hecate, what are you doing, honey? Like, we've never been at odds. Why attack me? I'm a good person. Like, what does it matter? Like, what are you doing?
what up?
Like she's a peaceful deity. She's like, I don't get it. And like Hecate is just like, listen, you don't understand that humankind is on like the edge of extinction here, and destruction and magic is going to be a problem. So I'm going to take care of it, and like you're my way. And so like I'm going to replace it with my power, and I just don't want you here. So Manitou Dawn, just burn her, get rid of her, make it stop. And so then, like, we see Manitou Dawn about to attack Ramakrishna, and then, like, Wonder Woman, like, uses her magic, and you see two giant stone arms come up, and she does like, the classic Wonder Woman thing, but gigantic.
I thought that was Ramakrishna for a second.
No, it's Wonder Woman being like, bah, and then she's like, Hecate, I've come for you, and Hecate's like,
you, Hecate.
I'm calling you
3 minutes.
exactly. So, like, everyone, like, breaks up and they all have different jobs.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's job is to fight Hecate.
Yeah.
And she's going to do so with using Hecate's power, and Hecate is just like, whoa.
Hey,
That's my power.
That's not cool.
You can use my power against me.
Rude.
Okay, all I want to say is, like, that's not cool.
That's not, on the level of coolness, that's way down here. Meanwhile,
It's called class. I have class, and you apparently don't, Wonder Woman.
yeah, get out. So then Swamp Thing is going to go beneath Nanda Parbat, where everything's starting to fall apart, and he's going to try to brace it using any sort of plant life that might be down there to keep
Okay.
it together. And Deadman convinces Ramakrishna she has to leave. Like, you have to abandon Nanda Parbat. So she puts her essence into several monks, and they all, like, they have to be protected as they're leaving, essentially.
Much like Hecate did.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a thing you can do, except she's literally in them. It's not just her power.
Yeah.
Like, there's no other version of her. She's just in them, and they're simultaneously moving as one, essentially. And so, like, Kurt's trying to, like, save people. Detective Chimp is, like, trying to, like, defend them with his sword and such. So is Constantine.
Forgot he had a sword.
Yeah, he's got a sword. And so then, like, they're like, okay, how are we going to get out of here? And Zatanna's like, you know, I know you don't like having that sword there, Bobo, but, like, now would be a good time to use it, because that sword can open up, like, a dimensional, like, tear.
Oh.
And so they're able to go through it and get Ramakrishna out of there.
Now he looks much more like a bat.
Right? Well, he doesn't have his suit on or anything. He doesn't have any clothes on.
He's just gross.
He's not gross. He's kind of cute.
He's pretty gross.
Yeah, but look at that awesome hair he's got. And I don't mean over his body. I mean on
He's just like,
It's like Fabio. Fabio bat.
So Hecate and Wonder Woman are like in an intense sort of battle, and they're basically just trying to let Ramakrishna leave. Hecate notices and sends Manitou Dawn after her. And
Yeah, what the hell was Manitou Dawn doing this whole time?
she was fighting. Like, she's fighting, like, Wonder Woman Hecate, and it's a 2 against 1.
No,
It's an unfair
not
battle.
fair, yeah.
But it's Wonder Woman who's
Right.
like, you know, badass.
Who's now like witch powered.
Right,
Yeah,
still
and
witch
an
power,
Amazon.
Plus, she's still Wonder Woman.
Yeah, exactly. So then, meanwhile, like, she's like, Hecate's like, oh, and I know Swamp Thing's down there doing his thing, but like, he's about to get really distracted because little did anyone know Hecate awoke another witch mark and sent it down to Brazil, where the Parliament of Trees is. Now, the Parliament of Trees,
It's like Ent
Hell is the Parliament of-
court.
Oh.
it is kind of,
We all wear wigs of leaves.
the Parliament of Trees is a council for Swamp Thing. It's made up of elementals essentially that have become like the original origin was that it was elementals who had like been like burnt and died and then were reborn as trees and inevitably went and served in the Parliament of Trees. They protect the green, which is the power source for Swamp Thing.
Okay.
There are various like colors. I think the current incarnation there's 4. It's the green, the red, the gray, which is also known as the rot, and the blue.
I remember
think.
seeing the rot somewhere
Question
in
mark?
a story we did.
Yeah. The rot will come up a lot, especially because it's kind of the antithesis of the green in a sense. So anyway, the green is now under attack. And the Parliament of Trees in particular is under attack. And like, Swamp Thing can feel it occurring because he's tied into the green.
Right.
He's tied into the Parliament of Trees.
So he like bails?
Well, like he tries to bail and he does, but it doesn't matter because Hecate had Black Orchid, who's actually another character who I think was part of a previous Justice League Dark as well. And she has access to the green and the red. And it's just a really big slap in the face that this is the person they send to go and destroy the Parliament of Trees. And so like she ends up just like setting fire to the Parliament of Trees.
Whoa. Wonder Woman got all crazy at the end of that issue.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I was gonna.
And also that.
So while the Parliament of Trees is burning, Hecate ends up just wrecking Wonder Woman's day and like ends up taking control of her.
Oh.
And so like now she is a witch marked. And
Whoops.
it's bad because that's like the last person you want to have.
Yeah, that's
like,
not good.
It's not, none of it's good. But Bobo and Kirk left with Ramakrishna and Deadman with Manitou Dawn behind them. And Wonder Woman is now a witch marked, leaving Constantine and Zatanna to deal with her and Hecate. So, you know, that's going well for them.
Yeah.
So when Swamp Thing shows up, he like tries to like stop Black Orchid and like he tries to like reach out to her and like she can't respond. And here's what's terrible is it turns out when you are a witch marked, you know what's happening and you can't stop yourself. And so like Manitou Dawn knows what she's doing and she is just crying out inside. And Black Orchid knows what she's doing and she doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, okay.
That sucks.
Because it looked like she was normal.
Right? Yeah, I think it's just because she's got like more costume than I don't know. They just chose not to make her look like that. Yeah.
She's got the glow on the face.
Yeah, she's got a little bit of the glow.
A little bit.
So, Wonder Woman, we see wake up and like this like kind of like monochromatic grayscale landscape, and like she's like floating in this like silvery water, and she looks up and she sees Witchfire, who's all grayscale as well, and she's like, "Hey, what's up?" And like Wonder Woman's like, "I thought you died with everybody else in the Oblivion bar." And she's like, "That's a really nice way of saying that you set everyone on fire." But she makes a comment about like, "I guess that's why you're an A-lister, and I was just an also ran." I was like, "That's a great line.
Yeah,
I
that is a
love
great
that."
line, yeah.
So basically, where they are is it's not real. It's not really the moon. It looks like they're on the moon, but
Right.
it's
It's
not.
like the mindscape or something.
It is,
Yeah.
and it's like it's all the witch marked who are there, and there's 4 of them, and we know we're missing a 5th. We don't know who it is, and
It's Constantine.
Right.
He's secretly in drag. Well, she's secretly in
ta-da! It's Detective Chimp.
drag. How could you tell?
Ook ook. Anyway,
Who are the 4? It's Wonder
Which
Woman?
Witchfire, who's dead, Wonder Woman, Black Orchid, and Manitou Dawn.
Yeah.
So the 2, like Manitou Dawn and and Black Orchid are still asleep, but Wonder Woman's kind of woken up and she's just like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Well, I'm dead. You're not, but you're like basically you're gonna die
not in control.
Because you're here.
Well, it's not even just because you're here, but like no mortal body can handle that amount of power from Hecate, and so she will burn through your body."
But she is no mere mortal.
Exactly. So it'll take probably a little longer, and they do mention that.
Wow, okay.
But like at the end of the day,
You're still gonna die.
you're still gonna die.
Right.
And like
You're gonna have a bad day.
yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
not today, but at some point it's gonna be real bad.
Right? So then like Constantine's like lighting up, and he's just like, so we're all screwed.
That's over.
Let's just go get drunk. And like Zatanna's like, what
suck.
are you, dumb?
Yeah.
And
He's
she's
like,
just,
that's right.
right. And
Let's get wrecked and have sex.
exactly. So no, he ends up pulling out a handkerchief and he coughs into it, and there's all this blood. And
Oh no, he's got the consumption.
well,
I knew
yeah.
he's always had that.
Well, so okay, so when they fought the Upside Down Man, he wrecked Detective Chimp, Swamp Thing, and Constantine. He
Okay.
he made Swamp Thing not exist. He turned Detective Chimp into a puddle, and he removed the demon blood from Constantine's body. And as far as I know, I don't think that was put back in. The other two were put right, but I don't think that was put in.
So the demon blood was keeping Constantine
He
alive?
doesn't know. Constantine's like, I don't know if that's what was keeping me alive, or if the Upside Down Man left a little something extra inside of me because like he had cured his illness.
Called cancer?
Yeah.
Right.
He's like, he'd cured it previously, and so he doesn't know.
What was
like,
his illness?
It's kind of questionable in this. Oftentimes it is cancer due to all the smoking.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not really sure where we are in continuity right now
Right.
with this. So regardless, though, he is dying.
Okay.
And so she's just like Sona's like, holy crap. And he's like, but you know what? Like, I'm going to go out with a bang then. Let's do it. Like, why not? So, like...
Let's do it.
Let's,
Is what it's saying.
Let's literally
Going
do
out
it.
with a bang.
Yeah.
He's just taking his trench coat off,
Yeah.
loosening his tie.
What the hell are you doing?
I thought I was very clear. I'm going to have sex with you.
No. We're gonna stop the bad guy. Jeez.
So Constantine and Zatanna decide they're gonna perform a simple sort of exorcism in a way. They're like, the oldest tricks and the easiest tricks are often the best ones.
Okay.
So that's their plan. Meanwhile, all the monks end up at the Oblivion bar, and like Ramakrishna's like, something's wrong. First of all, there's corpses everywhere. Second of all, Manitou Dawn is coming after them. Third of all, the Parliament of Trees is dying. Like, everything's happening all at once.
Yeah, this is not going well.
So she shows up, and like they're totally screwed. But luckily, the Sisterhood of the Sleight of Hand, some of them survived, including Tracy 13
Okay.
and this chick named Nightshade, I think. And they like show up from the shadow dimension, and they're gonna use it against Manitou Dawn to keep her down because they're just like, screw you, you burned us.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, they're like, but it's not really you. So
And they cover her with a smallpox blanket.
exactly.
A magical one.
Oh boy.
You're going to keep her down.
So anyway, while all these things are kind of happening simultaneously, so you got the Manitou Dawn fight going on in the Oblivion bar. You've got Zatanna and Constantine trying to perform an exorcism. So like they use a very simple binding spell to keep Wonder Woman in place.
Okay.
And they start like their exorcism trying to draw or drive Hecate out of all the witch marked. And while that's going on, Wonder Woman's still talking to like the ghost of Witchfire, basically. And like talking about how it's just like, you know, Witchfire's like, here's the thing, I don't agree with Hecate necessarily. I'm not on team Hecate here, but like at the same time, like our magical rules, this was really messed up. So maybe it is time for a change. I don't know. And then all of a sudden Diana's like, I hear somebody calling my name. And like Witchfire's like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're doing this. Really? Because she knows immediately that they're trying to do an exorcism. And basically it ends up like killing Wonder Woman in a sense. So like Wonder Woman goes totally gray because they end up driving Hecate out of Manitou Dawn and out of Black Orchid, and it all just funnels into Wonder Woman.
Oh.
But there were... Okay, they had Wonder Woman in the center of it. How does that not work on Wonder Woman themselves?
Because they like sucked it out of him into Wonder
I
Woman.
think Hecate was like, I'll let those two go. I'm going to have to let something go to keep something. So I think she ends up letting them go, and it just funnels into Wonder Woman.
I mean, she wanted it to go anyway. She wants the power to be not on them
Right,
anymore.
but right now she wants a champion. And so like
Right.
she'll take Wonder Woman right now to
mean,
fend off the rest of them.
Yeah, if you're going to pick a champion, that's the way to go.
Exactly. And so like and so essentially like Zatanna and Constantine are like, we
that
have
didn't really-
made this worse.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Well, I guess they saved the
other
trees
two.
and stuff.
No, the Parliament trees burnt.
Oh.
It burned to the ground.
Oh.
Like
So
it.
they're all dead.
Oh yeah, no. Black Orchid did everything she was meant to do and more.
Oh.
And like in its place, a new parliament starts to grow, and it's the Parliament of Flowers, and they are not friendly, and they're like, the old must be trimmed away because they're like part of Hecate,
Oh.
and so they're just like,
Well, that's not good.
screw you, like no,
Screw you, Swamp Thing, you're gross.
exactly,
Well, flowers were evolutionarily more advanced than
I
simple
Than moss.
trees.
right.
Yeah.
Well, the idea is they're like, look, there's different colors, there's
They
different
were
parliaments.
beautiful and you're gross. and
Exactly.
green.
So Manitou,
We just want to dance through the night. Yeah. Parliament of Flowers.
that is what?
Well, because they're all pretty colors.
Bitch, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, they're also
You got like colors. There's raving.
Cough pollen on you. And,
And it's like glitter.
yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I hate you guys. So anyway, Manitou Dawn's back, Black Orchid's back, and Wonder Woman is just like, she's just a monster. She's more black coming out. She's all lightning and stuff.
Gross looking.
And Hecate's like, cool, awesome.
Okay.
So like,
Sweet.
now it's time for us to go. And so they leave, but like Nanda Parbat's like being totally like changed. And that's when the Ultra Psychopomp shows up.
The what?
The Ultra Psychopomp.
It's like a flying monkey.
So a Psychopomp.
With a scythe.
A Psychopomp is a spirit who like ferries the dead to the underworld, and this is the Ultra version of it.
Oh.
The Ultra Psychopomp.
It's real big.
Yeah.
Well, in case you got a lot of people to go to the underworld
Yeah, you
at
gotta
once.
ferry a lot
Right?
of dead people.
You got a lot. It's kind of like, here's the thing, like he's there. He's a reaper essentially. He's come to reap. It's
Yeah.
you know.
I am a reaper.
It's what I do.
It's
reap.
what it. I can't help it. So anyway, Wonder Woman's like, okay, well, Witchfire.
This shift is really cool. The
Yeah,
fact that now
the-
it's just all gray.
It's all gray because there's no more color for her. So at this point, like Witchfire's like, damn, we got a good seat for the end of magic. And Wonder Woman's like, listen, I know you're not gonna do anything because you're not really a hero like me.
You're just sort of a model and a stuck-up bitch.
So here's the thing, I'm gonna figure this out. And she jumps into the pool and like she swims down.
Oh, that's where she was. That makes sense.
Right, and she gets color again, and she runs into this like young woman, and she's like, "Who are you? And what are you doing here?" And the young woman's like, "You know exactly who I am. You knew who I was before you even jumped in."
Isn't it her?
No, it's not. We'll find out. Because then we got to shift over to see everything that's going on at the Necropolis and the Parliament of Flowers and the Oblivion Bar, and all of a sudden all these like doorways open up, these magical doorways, and everybody runs into them, and it turns out it's Cersei being like, "Hey, you freaking whizzed it in record time, everyone. You screwed the pooch
Yeah,
on
it
this
didn't work
one."
at all.
So, like, the only thing we can do now is kill Wonder Woman and, like, get rid of Cersei somehow, or get rid of Hecate somehow. I don't know.
But
So,
isn't killing Wonder Woman going to release the power and then make Hecate stronger?
right? Well, they have to
but
stop.
they gotta stop her.
Yeah, like she's a
One
force to be
problem
reckoned
at
with.
a time.
Yeah,
Beat her first, and then we'll
and then we'll
deal with a
somehow
god.
deal
Yeah.
with Hecate.
right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So Magic's gonna die. This chick's gonna replace it, and they're like, okay, we gotta find her. I don't know where she's gonna be. And they're like, and Hecate or Cersei's like, where do you think that they might go? Think about the mythology at play here. So naturally, Hecate being all like you know, mystical and mythical and all that stuff, she ends up going to Olympus.
Yay!
So, like, Wonder Woman casts open a gateway to the realm of the gods, essentially, which has been long abandoned. And then we get the rest of the history for Hecate.
Okay.
And, like, it's Cersei gave us, like, a simplified crack, like, mirror version of what actually happened with Hecate.
Okay.
So, the person that Wonder Woman is talking to is Hecate.
What?
And so she's like, so let me give you a little history lesson here, Wendy. At the beginning of time,
Could you not call me Wendy?
Nobody does that.
I'm as old as time. I'm
not a thing.
I'm gonna do what I please.
never
I'm
been
gonna
a
do.
thing.
I'm gonna do what I please. Anyway, Wendy. So at the beginning of time, there was magic, and eventually that magic coalesced and formed a being, and that being was Hecate.
Okay.
And
So she just is magic.
she is all of magic. So as opposed to the Greek mythology where she was born of a titan, in this she is born of magic. Like she's just like, here I am, and she doesn't have the name Hecate at the time. She's just, I'm magic, hello. And she's hanging around all by herself, and then all of a sudden she senses that there's something nearby, and she feels that there is like this dark mirror multiverse version of the universe. And she runs into the Upside Down Man, and it frightens her, and she doesn't like it, and so she casts it down.
Yeah,
and casts...
like it would frighten anyone.
Exactly.
Oh, thank God, because when she started going at him upright and he was upside down, I'm like, they're totally going to 69.
Exactly.
That's weird. And then
no!
they create a universe.
I thought you were gonna say upside down kiss.
Yeah.
A Spider-Man.
No.
Nope.
No, she's already above him.
That's not what they're doing. So
No,
she,
it's going in a whole different direction.
Yeah, that's
like he is. So she ends up casting a barrier to keep it away.
Okay.
And then like humanity shows up, and from humanity, the pantheon, various pantheons of gods arrive,
Okay.
and they all.
Is that goddamn Alan Moore?
It's like a
No,
wizard. It's like a look. It's all different goddesses here from all different walks of life here, and the idea is that each of them wanted Hecate to be part of their pantheon because she was pure
Magic.
Yeah.
pure power, right?
You're super awesome and cool.
But they're all lame and weak.
Right.
Yeah.
So like inevitably, like Hecate, the young woman or the child, leaves that version behind and becomes Hecate the maiden and takes the hand of Hades, who woos her.
Oh, okay.
And so she becomes Hecate, goddess of magic.
Okay.
Right.
And inevitably, mankind, a la Sandman, ends up using the spells that they've seen her doing. They copy her incantations and her hand motions, and they end up calling her forth and binding her in place and keeping her trapped there.
Oh.
And she waits for years for Hades to come and rescue her, and he never does. Until one day he shows up and he's like, yeah, no, I got a new chick named Persephone. I'm out of here. And he leaves her to languish there. And so she
Why? That's such a dick move.
Because he's Hades.
It's like, I could help you.
Look, if any of the gods were
don't
gonna
care.
just leave her,
I
see him.
I'm just, here's the thing. I got new hotness over here.
Right.
New hotness.
Right.
you got old and busted, you got new hotness.
Yeah. So, let me look at you. You're in tattered rags. I think not. I think not, honey.
She's like,
Yikes.
but I'm still young and beautiful.
Right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
new.
New hotness.
Yeah, plus you got yourself all binded and like.
And I'm not into that.
Yeah.
Unless I'm doing it, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm leaving you here in this cave.
Right.
Your busted ass is
Long
staying
story
here.
short, I'm not helping you.
Yeah. So he leaves, and she screams out in agony, and that is heard beyond our universe in a sense. And like she ends up like pulling down in a sense into the upside down mirror universe.
Oh.
And upon like extracting herself from the binding spell, she pulls a piece of dark magic up with her from the cracked like other kind
Okay.
upside down universe.
Right.
And so she says to the humanity, she's like, you want magic so badly? Here. And she gives them the dark tainted magic. And that's what mankind has been using.
So that's been Hecate the whole time? Like
no,
this dark magic
it
thing?
isn't.
No.
She gave them the power from the multiverse.
Right.
She said, here you go. You can use this. You don't get my power. And that's why she put it in others so they couldn't have it. You can't have my magic
Okay.
because you suck.
Yeah, you get this.
Exactly.
gross
You
dark
bound me.
magic.
Exactly. And upon that happening, she leaves maiden form and becomes the crone.
Oh.
And the crone is wicked and angry and spiteful.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's a crone.
Exactly. And she goes to the gods and she says, if you ever come to me again, I will wreck you.
Oh.
Do not come to me. Don't ever come after me. And so she ends up kind of living in fear that they will come after her. And so she like divides herself away from everyone. And basically, as much as she is the triple goddess and like all of them at once, it is the crone who is typically in charge of everything. And occasionally the maiden and the child will beseech her to give blessings onto the earth. But usually that doesn't happen because the crone is so angry and filled with rage at what happened to her.
Right.
It's kind of sad. She got totally
Yeah.
screwed.
Yeah.
You know, she was like totally okay. And then like, thanks a lot, Hades, you dick.
Yeah. Well, plus those people who, like.
Oh
around
yeah.
her.
But all Hades had to do was be like, honey, I'm so sorry. Let me help
Right.
you.
Yeah.
We'll work through this together.
Yeah, we'll go kill those people.
No, I'm gonna leave you for some human chick.
Yeah.
Tell you what,
She
I'll
did.
unbind you still. And then like, we can both have this human chick.
Yeah.
Are we into that?
She's like, no. All right, you staying here. So basically, magic is infected.
Yeah,
And now
it's
what she
not
wants to
even
do
from here.
Exactly. She's trying to burn through that magic and she'll replace it now with her own power. She's like, oh, cool. Like, you guys messed up magic. And I saw what happened with the whole Source Wall multiverse thing. How messed up that is. You can't use that magic anymore because it's so broken now. So now I'll be magic and I'll be in charge of everything because screw all of you. I hate you. I'm going to be in charge now. So essentially, like, a sacrifice kind of has to be made. And, like, regardless, like, Wonder Woman has a plan, and the other team is working on their plan of going to, like, stop Wonder Woman, and, like, it's for the greater good, basically.
Right.
They say that. I like that they say that because then
The greater good.
yeah,
the greater
exactly,
good.
and there we go. So like, basically like.
Cersei's like, yeah, I'll totally kill her, if I have to.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like here's the thing. At the end of the day, like, what would Wonder Woman do? That's all I'm saying.
Right.
What would Wonder Woman do?
I think we just have to kill her.
So meanwhile, like Witchmark Wonder Woman is just destroying Olympus because obviously she's pretty upset with them.
Yeah.
And then like the whole team shows up, like the new team of like everybody who's been involved and like Witchmarked and all that. Except I don't think Manitou Dawn is here. Like they just replaced her with Nightshade or whatever her name is. The other two are gonna try to help out. Like the other versions of Hecate are going to attempt to help out, and like. That's like they chose Wonder Woman because they thought at the end of the day maybe she could fix all of this.
So the Child and the Maiden?
Yeah, the Child and the Maiden are like, maybe she could fix that. I don't know. Like, you need to give us a chance to fix this, I guess. I don't know. Here's the thing. At the end of the day, Hecate has to go away.
Right.
Because we can't stop the crown. And we're all the same person. So
Right.
you're going to have to stop her, I guess? I don't know.
Her/us?
Yeah. So then, like, they basically put Wonder Woman back in her body.
Oh.
Okay.
And, like, Wonder Woman's, like, in charge. She's like, okay, guys, hang on. Don't kill me.
Right. No, I swear I'm good now.
I'm good. I'm
There's
good.
like a sword like inches away from her face, and she's like, wait!
Hang on. And so she drops to her knees and she beseeches Hecate to stop. And she's just like, I wish to speak to you. And Hecate's like,
Well, I'm omnipotent,
a second
and
ago you were
nothing
working
can
for
stop me, so I guess I'll grant you a minute of my
right.
time.
Well, she's just like, what trickery is this? What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just want to say, you look really nice today.
Yeah, you look pretty.
What did you do to your hair? It's new, right?
By the way, I hate Hades too. He's an asshole. Want to talk?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, girl, we're gonna go out for drinks.
Exactly. No, basically they try to have a conversation where she's just like, look, you need time to heal. You can't replace magic. You need to help yourself. Like, and Hecate's like,
You need a spa day.
she's like, I will not yield. I won't stop. And
I'm not asking you to stop. I'm just asking you to like take a minute for yourself.
she's saying that, and then Wonder Woman's like, because here's the thing. At the end of the day, I don't want to kill you. And Hecate's like, but you can't. I'm just saying, you're an Amazon.
It wouldn't matter if you
Just
tried.
whatever. And then she's like, okay, fine. Zatanna, I want you to cast some magic. And she's just like, but if I do that, it'll open the doorway. She's like, I know. And so then Zatanna like casts, like she says, Nepo et rude, which is open the door, because all of Zatanna's magic is words spoken backwards.
Right.
And so she casts it, and the doorway is open to the other kind, and the upside down man comes down.
And he's like, Hecate, I missed you.
Hey,
Last time we
you.
hit 69, that was the last time we saw each other.
No. So
No,
then,
this happened.
Girl, you ran off before things get interesting.
exactly. You got all humanized down there. So he like literally the other kind just like go and like to begin to consume Hecate, and they eat her, and they like remain in Olympus essentially. And so all of our heroes abandon Olympus. Wonder Woman can feel the power of Hecate being.
You're saying
pulled
that
from her
Olympus
body.
has fallen?
Yeah, I have. So like
What
they
a
just
timely reference.
they abandon Olympus. The other kind, the Upside Down Man, Hecate, they're all in there. She's being
Just
consumed.
partying.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we got Olympus now.
Right.
We're gonna fill with tentacles
Well,
and shit.
Exactly. Well, it's just another step into our realm,
Right,
basically.
right.
And they're like, this was a conceit that had to be made.
Yeah, we had to take down Hecate first.
Exactly. And so like
We'll
now
go with
Hecate's
this.
power is gone from this world, and they can like Wonder Woman feels her die.
Oh.
So they kill Hecate
Yikes.
by using the Upside Down Man and the other
Yeah.
magic.
She asked her not to.
dark
Like
magic.
she's like,
Yeah.
don't make me
Hey,
do this.
I gave you a
I gave you a chance. So then like we kind of get like the finale of it where it's just like, so okay, so Madame Xanadu is taking care of Ramakrishna, so don't take care of that anymore. We don't have to deal with having a goddess around here, so that really helps out. The Necropolis, which is something that Hecate created, and the Parliament of Flowers, they seem to be sticking around. Nothing we could do about that. I think Nanda Parbat became the Necropolis.
Oh.
That's where all like that's where the Ultra Psychopomp came out of.
I mean, it is
So-
the dead, and
yeah.
it's dead men, so that kind of makes some kind of
That's what
connection.
it is now, I guess. So like those are here for the
Okay.
time being.
Right.
And Swamp Thing isn't like or does not talk to anybody right now because he's really upset.
Right.
Well, yeah, the flowers are being bitches.
Yeah, and we left Bobo and Kirk to talk to the Justice League, which I desperately wish we saw that scene because I really want to see Detective Chimp and freaking like Scientific Man-Bat, like him with all of his charts. You know he has like 10,000 charts as to what happened. Everyone's like,
Well, not that, but like Detective Chimp was like, "Where were you?"
yeah, I called you.
Ook!
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't get it.
So then, like, Zatanna and Wonder Woman kind of have, like, a cooling down, like, where they're just kind of like, Wonder Woman's like, I totally screwed up. And she's just like, no, you didn't. Like, you had no idea, like, that was going to happen. And, like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, I think you have a better understanding of magic than you ever have before. But, like, here's the thing. At the end of the day, it's not over. You know what I mean? We
Right.
still have to
They're
deal
in
with this other
Olympus
thing.
now.
So,
We
like,
gotta
we
deal
still
with
got to
that.
deal with stuff.
Yeah.
And then we see, at the end of the day, that Cersei's plan the entire time was to get all the power of Hecate, and that's where it went, because she was the last of the witch-marked. And so she is now the new goddess of magic.
Oh, boy.
So we're going to be dealing with that at some point.
Nice. That's
Damn it,
cool.
Cersei.
Yeah.
You tricky
Yeah.
minx.
I'm surprised none of the rest of them wondered about, like, hey, who's the fifth?
They had been, but they were too afraid to wait to find out, because they were
Right.
like,
They
at
wouldn't
that
really have
point,
time to deal with it.
yeah, like at that point, that would be the last step.
Yeah.
So like, if we can stop it at 4,
Yeah.
then like there's like we've got a buffer that it won't immediately all go into Hecate.
Right.
So there you go. The Witching Hour, written by James Tynion IV across every issue, but different artists, because based on the book they were working on.
Yeah.
Right.
But one writer wrote these across
Nice.
all the books, and he's the guy who's currently writing Justice League Dark.
Oh, that helps.
He's doing a phenomenal job with it, honestly. Also, we didn't talk about this, but the Witching Hour itself is a term utilized when supernatural creatures have at their highest power,
Right.
basically. Oftentimes considered midnight, oftentimes considered the hours of 3 and 4, at least in Western Christianity kind of myth, because that's when like most prayer would be over, and so there was a higher chance that darkness and evil would be able to get into the world.
Like 3 or 4 a.m.?
Yeah,
Yeah, like most
Okay.
people are asleep.
yeah, at that
guess.
point.
So, like, hardly anybody's praying.
Exactly,
Right.
and it was praying at that point. But the Witching Hour, I thought that was like a fun like term to call this, because it's
Yeah.
when Hecate was at her strongest. So
Yeah.
there it is.
Nice.
I like this delving into the magical world here. They try to establish some sort of rules with it.
Yeah,
In the Justice League Dark series, they are establishing the idea of magic having a cost, that kind of thing, especially with the other kind being there.
And this changes things.
It did for a minute, and then it didn't. I love this book. If you're looking for something magical and you haven't been picking up Justice League Dark,
So magical.
it is so magical. But it's also like he does a good
Like all
job
the
with.
magic and the colors.
I like the horror elements of it, because it definitely has those
definitely.
in it.
Yeah, with the upside down.
yeah.
hands.
Well, yes, the down man. The fact that the ghosts, the dead men, are like poking through.
Yeah,
Manitou.
the fact that like they burn away like all those witches
Yeah.
in the Oblivion bar.
yeah.
Like this is definitely a
The aptly named Oblivion bar.
well.
They got
This
sent
is-
to Oblivion.
I like this universe because it does have magic in it, but it has the darkness in Justice League Dark, of course, ha ha ha. But Tynan's really handling it very well, and he handles an ensemble cast great. And it's ongoing right now that we're shooting this. If you're watching this like a month or so from now, who knows? I hope it is. I like it a lot. So I don't know if this trade is out as of us shooting it, but when it is, I'm sure we'll put it down in the description box where you can pick it up. Otherwise, feel free to go out and grab some Justice League Dark somewhere, because this is a good book. And we'll see you guys next time on Back Issues. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Bye.
Bye.
He can get things off of tall shelves.
Yeah, because he can climb up there.
Yeah.
He could open bananas, I assume.
Okay, I can open my own bananas. Thank you very
Well,
much.
he
Yeah,
could,
but not as good as
he
him.
can open up like 2 at the same time, because he's got
Yeah.
the feet.
Yep.
The little
I don't want to
thumbs.
speak bananas.
Yeah, you're getting it. That's all you're getting.
They only touch the peel.
Foot banana? Well, how's he gonna hand it to you?
No, they open up bananas by like breaking them in half and like having it.
That's a
pop open.
regular chimp. This is the detective chimp.
Yeah.
He's very civilized.
No, he's gonna open it upside down so that the stringy things aren't there
Yeah.
as much. Because apparently that's like the way to eat a banana. Anyway,
What?
they go to like if
Sounds
you
like
take
nonsense.
No, I heard it someplace. If you take a
Oh, you
banana,
heard it
open
someplace. Oh.
and it's like
Nah, screw the stringy thing. You peel open the back of it. You cut a small seam in the back of the banana, the one that faces out, and then you just pop it open, and it takes everything off.
Now, here's what you do. You get a can opener, right? And you use that along the peel.
right.
Yeah.
What if I don't have a knife?
Why would you not have one and still have a banana?
I don't know.
Well, you can have a banana out in, wherever bananas grow. And
Yeah.
then you don't
What
have
if
a
I'm
knife
like
on you.
walking through like the marketplace and someone hands me a banana?
Well, I guess you're
Yeah.
gonna have to deal with stringy bits.
I'm just saying, you open it upside down.
I open a banana the normal way. I don't have a problem with the stringy bits. I just.
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
I
you
don't.
grab
I
them
don't
and you
usually
peel
have an
them
issue
down.
with them, but
Yeah.
they are there. I don't like that thing at the bottom though. I know it's.
Yeah, you pull it off. You throw
Yeah,
it
I don't
away.
like that.
Yeah, that little
The little
stem.
The little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like the banana pooped, and I don't care for it.
Well, it's
I
like
guess if you start at
hard-
the bottom,
I
then
just-
you get that out of the way right away.
Yeah, you just kind of.
Yeah.
It's gone.